All right. Welcome to the Tokyo Crypto Show, episode number 46. And right before we went live, Charlie let me know that actually we are at the 1 year anniversary for Charlie and I starting this show back when all Bitcoin was $3,000. I would kill for some $3,000 Bitcoin right now. Are you joking me?
Yeah, I mean, probably. I mean,
your mic is super high, distorting.
I kind of hear the same thing from your end, but
oh really?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the internet connection or not, but
now better, way better now. Am I distorting?
Every once in a while, but it's the same thing when we did Donovan's show before the Super Bowl. Like everything on the replay was fine, but it was just like, I don't know, what I was hearing coming into my headset sounded kind of like a little bit off.
Okay, no worries.
I don't know if it's StreamYards or what it is.
Probably was StreamYard, but yeah, man, congratulations, we made it. It's been a year.
Yeah,
and wow.
Well, the funny thing is how is people's reaction to the price of Bitcoin currently at about $10,400 compared to where we were a year ago?
I know. Do you think people are still saying Bitcoin's a scam, or are they lining up out the door right now? Because
they're completely apathetic, I think.
Yeah, well, fuck them. I don't care. I don't give a good goddamn. I'm trying to get my hands on more, and I've been waiting for this to dip strategically since the beginning of the goddamn year, and I don't even know if this is going to happen anymore. I mean,
that's the emotion that Bitcoin basically waits for, people to perfectly feel. It's like, okay, everything on the technical wise looks like Bitcoin should have a downturn, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least for like a week or 2 weeks, and it did yesterday for a couple $100, for a day.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things where you get to a certain point and Bitcoin's just like, I don't know, it's like when your mother or somebody in your family just pushes that one button of yours really like, a lot, and they just get into under your skin. That's kind of how Bitcoin does it when it gets to really high peaks or really low troughs. It's just like one of those things where it feels like shit, this thing's never going to turn around, both when it was at 3,000 or currently at 10,400 and something, so looking for one of those turnarounds to get a better buy seems like right now might not happen, right?
I just love how this is just so reminiscent of what happened in 2017. I'll share my screen right here and show you guys. The market is truly Bitcoin's bitch. I mean, look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been making quite the jump, right? It's going up. And if you take a look at the rest of the coins behind, Ethereum following, Ripple following, Bitcoin trash following, Bitcoin. Dude, some people are seriously telling me that Bitcoin Satoshi's vision is a good coin. And I'm just
who are these people?
I don't want to embarrass them. But it's somebody I respect. I'll text it to you. But EOS trash coin, Litecoin, it's Litecoin.
Litecoin is kind of a dark horse, actually. Last year at the beginning of the year, it had some of the biggest gains. It started before Bitcoin.
But look, I mean, Tron jumping, Cardano jumping.
Tezos up 21% today.
Tezos, right? Fucking Chainlink, you love that one. Stellar.
I like anything that can make me money.
Good. That's a good point. It's a really good point. Crypto.com coin, I mean, VeChain is up. Dogecoin is struggling. That's Trey's favorite coin.
I love Dogecoin. Love me some Doge.
Quantum's up. Where's that piece of trash Omise go?
Oh man. It's
Omise,
right there.
No.
Number 48.
Oh man, what a devastation. Fuck that guy. June, whatever the hell his name is.
Hasagawa. Yep.
Yeah.
I actually looked today at this list just before we started. There's 25 out of 100. The top 100 coins are up more than 10% in the last 24 hours.
What is?
25 out of the top 100 cryptocurrencies are up over 10% in the last 24 hours.
You know what's funny is, do you remember when that guy called in, or he was like telling us in February there's going to be a big shocking change and everything's going to go bad with Bitcoin? Remember that guy?
Oh yeah, the something about I'm right.
I'm always right or whatever. Where's
Yeah.
that asshole now? Because we're fucking February has been so bullish. It's fucking unreal,
Well,
man.
yeah, it's been bullish since the 18th of December. That's when the last low came in at 64.50 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up 64% since then. So the only thing, doing just as well as Bitcoin right now is Tesla and gold.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Tesla and gold. Gold's doing pretty well along with Bitcoin. And Tesla since March of last year is up 500% or 400 and some percent.
I love how people, I mean, anytime the outrage mob says something, you should bet on it, because they're so dumb and like always wrong. It's unbelievable. We got a crypto spurg in the house. Old Dave Phillips is back. Silver bullion is far safer, would have far better returns this year.
I would say it is safe. Yes. I have nothing against precious metals. I think people who are into precious metals should be into Bitcoin, maybe not other cryptocurrency, but at least Bitcoin just as much, because the idea behind Bitcoin as well as precious metals is basically the same. And it actually, if you take a look at some of the boomer precious metal people who are doing YouTube stuff on their websites and also on some of their YouTube stuff, the only other thing they quote besides precious metals is Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, if those, the gold bugs, not like Peter Schiff, because that guy's kind of an asshole, but, he's stubborn. But, the gold bugs who really understand what it means to, be in a scarce commodity, and something that's a hedge against basically fiat currency and the government, they're usually pro Bitcoin, and they actually quote the price of Bitcoin along with, the price of gold, the price of palladium, the price of silver. So, I mean, if you hold your silver or if you hold your gold, awesome. If you hold your Bitcoin, you have your private keys, great. If you're just holding an IOU contract on the CME or whatever, a futures contract, whatever, it doesn't mean shit because you probably don't own it.
Yeah, exactly. And good luck. Like, right now, can you tell that I'm carrying about $20,000 worth of Bitcoin on me?
Obviously not. Except for that matrix background, I can see a couple of the codes in there. You got your private keys written in that.
Could you imagine if I had $20,000 worth of silver bullion on me right now?
It'd be badass.
It would be badass, but it would be very heavy and very inconvenient.
You might look like I don't know, some of those Indian guys that I used to do recruitment for. They'd have like the Thanos rings. They'd have like 5 different like rings on their fingers.
I want to do that with gold. Dave Phillips also says Bitcoin SV and Bcash are far superior to the old Bitcoin, which will soon be uneconomic to mine anymore. Sir, let me tell you something. The line for people mining Bitcoin is not getting any shorter. Okay.
You want me to pull up the hash rate right now?
Sure.
Oh man, the hash rate is beautiful. And actually the Bitcoin halving has moved up by about a half a month because people are mining it like crazy right now.
Oh wow, really? So it means what, it's going to be in April?
No, right now it's roughly between the 8th to 12th of May. Could come as early as late April, but it was supposed to be the end of May, by guesstimates. But here, let me just, I'll show it on an all-time high, or sorry, it's like an all-time thing on a non-logarithmic scale, and then I'll show it on a log scale. So hold on a second. I got to share the screen, right? Yeah, extra guac, I don't know. Silver is good. So, I think the people who get very tribalistic about, because a lot of people in cryptocurrency get tribalistic between cryptocurrencies, right? Like they'll say like, I love Ethereum, or I love Monero, like Monero versus Zcash, Ethereum versus, there's a bunch of other smart contract things, Bitcoin versus Bitcoin SV and Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, gold versus Bitcoin. They should all be in the same camp because it's basically the same type of ecosystem, the same type of idea. Whereas it should really be cryptocurrency and precious metals or scarce assets versus, commodities which are not scarce like fiat and other things. But, people are going to be people and they're going to be tribalistic. So it is what it is. But let me show the screen, I guess. Let's see. There we go. Here's hash rate. Is it on there?
Yep.
So on the, what is hash rate? So hash rate just means how much computing power is going towards trying to mine Bitcoin. And the higher the hash rate is, the more competitors there are trying to get Bitcoin. Right now, we're at all-time highs in hash rate, and it's on the non-logarithmic scale, just on the normal scale. You can just see like parabolic advances basically. But of course, having a non-logarithmic scale means anything before 2015, we can't really see how it registers on the chart. So it's not really realistic to look at, the peaks and troughs now compared to the past. So if you just change it to a log scale, it looks a lot more reasonable and a lot more consistent. So since 2010, it's been consistently growing. We had a huge jump up from 2010 to 2011, and then it kind of evened off until 2013. Again, even though Bitcoin was in a bear market in 2014, people were mining it like crazy, and it's just been continually increasing ever since. So it's getting more, even just because it's, the more it's very industrial. So the more people who are trying to mine Bitcoin, the harder it's going to be to get your whole Bitcoin and everything. And, with the supply going down in May, that means the second half of this year, the miners are going to have, twice as much competition. So, it's good for the price.
It's pretty telling that the year started off and that fucking chart took a huge jump, man. I think there's a silent movement of people. I mean, I know I've been trying to get my hands on some more Bitcoin.
Well, and on my channel, I've been saying since at least October, November, pay attention to what the miners are doing, because what they are doing right now, basically at that time from October of last year until through the halving, that's the stuff you have to pay attention to, because the people in the news or the people who are talking about Bitcoin, who have a stake in it or whatever, they're going to run whatever narratives they want to run to make stuff sound, one way or another. The government wants to make it look bad, all of that stuff. So don't listen to what people do. Look at how people are acting. And the only people who really have the best inside information on Bitcoin and, are actively trying to get it, are the miners. And what were they doing in October through December of 2018? They were shutting off their miners. They were basically going bankrupt.
Right.
Now they're ramping up. They're buying more mining capacity in order to, try to get as much as they can before the supply gets cut in half. So
I think it's very telling that everything, that everybody's like trying to get some right now. That's a very, very, I mean, I just think, can you go back to that chart one more time?
The hash rate?
Yeah.
Sure. There you go.
Let's see. Yeah, this looks like it. Yeah, January 10th. Huh? Or no, was that 2010?
These are the years.
Ah.
So you can see on a non-log scale, it's still an all-time high, but it's, from last year to this year, it takes a lot of energy to mine Bitcoin, which is one, some people hold that as a bad thing against Bitcoin, but actually you actually have to put up something real in order to get it. Whereas a lot of coins, which are proof of stake, you just have to buy enough of the asset to say, oh, I own a stake in it and I'm not going to sell it. Whereas with Bitcoin, even if you buy it, it doesn't mean you can mine more of it. So the only way to mine it is actually solving the algorithm and actually doing the actual work.
Can you do a zoom in of this year only?
Yeah. Let's do that. I'll just do the last 1 year. And on a log scale, it looks like nothing. If I did a linear scale, how's that going to look? Or actually, let me go back a couple, and there we go. And then this one. There we go. Yeah, that's more realistic for what's happened in the last 1 year.
Interesting. So this son of a bitch is definitely getting more activity.
Yeah, and on Google as well, people are starting to actually look at it a little bit more. Still, though, compared to 2017, the normies are going to norm, and not many people are really watching it. So if you look at people's audiences and stuff, or people's offices, for me, I get a lot of sentiment from people who are watching my channel or stuff in social media versus when we were in the last company together, we just listened to the normies in the office, and not until it's at the very top is actually the normal people are going to start getting in. My prediction is once Bitcoin gets above $30,000, that's when the real FOMO starts happening. People are going to ignore it until then.
So take a look here. Crypto is a trap. It's not private like bullion. And then I think it's hilarious that the guy watches our show just to disparage us. And then,
it's all good.
And then he says, they can't come for your bullion if they don't know you have it. All crypto is traceable. What do you say about that?
Well, not all crypto is necessarily traceable. Monero is a very strong privacy coin that you can get away with.
Bitcoin, is they? Who is they coming to
the
get
government?
Let me tell you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you have $50,000 in Bitcoin, you could store it in an emoji. But if you have $50,000 in gold bullion, you're going to need a good amount of space in your house somewhere that is fortified, whether it be a safe or whatever. And you better be armed as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely armed. Here's the thing that gets me is because we're living internationally, right, as Americans.
Right.
And I'm just going to mention this off the top of my head because I think this is funny as well. Trophy Dolphin says, peanut butter will do Bitcoin this year. I like it. But so the thing about, living internationally is when you go through airports, what are some of the first things that you see? So when I came back to Japan after I went back to Minnesota for Christmas, was a couple of things. When I got to the United States, there's multiple signs that said you cannot bring in more than $10,000, with it to the country, wherever you're coming from. Okay. The other thing that I saw is when I came back to Japan, they have those guys, they have like that silver table and you put it on there and they check to see what's in your bags and then they let you out of the airport or not.
Right.
The guy didn't know if I spoke Japanese or not. So he just opened up this pamphlet and it was like pointing at, cocaine, marijuana. He's pointing at gold and silver, and he's pointing at these other things as well that are illegal and to bring into the country. And the fact that, they ask you those types of things, how much money do you have? Are you bringing in anything illegal, firearms, food, whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you have any, large amounts of precious metals on you? Just means you can't, if you're going to stay in your ranch or somewhere that you have in the States, great. But if you're a person who is thinking at some point in time, if I need to go somewhere else, and I need to bring a good portion of my wealth with me, the only way that you can do that in this world right now is through cryptocurrency, because it's the only thing that is borderless and that cannot be stopped internationally.
Okay.
So that then, there's a huge thing for me.
Another thing is this then. Yeah, obviously, fooling those idiots at the TSA is pretty easy.
Well, not if you're holding a whole suitcase full of gold.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I think that's a big thing there that needs to be brought to people's attention, because like when you sit here and try to tell me in the digital age that an asset like Bitcoin is not something to be taken seriously or is to be undermined compared to like bullion, it's like, do you ride to work on a horse and do you type on a typewriter? Like, you got to get with the times.
Yeah, yes and no. Yes and no. I think the one great thing about precious metals, and I like to, kind of look at both sides of the coin as well. The one good thing about precious metals is if you're actually looking to maintain your wealth over multiple generations, it's great. So 100 years ago, if you were to have bought gold, like let's say you had $5,000 in cash and you're like, I'm not going to spend this, it's just my savings, I'm going to buy this, put it under my bed. If you bought $5,000 of gold versus if you had like wads of cash that were worth $5,000 at the time under your bed, 100 years later, let's say you forgot about it, one of your relatives found it, that $5,000 is going to be worth $5,000. What it could have bought 100 years ago, was a lot of shit, a house or whatever, versus now, maybe an old junked out car. So, what's going to retain value? Yes, precious metals do retain value. So they're good at that. But for parabolic advances or for volatility and for trading and making money that way, crypto's the best way to go.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know, fuck my future relatives. I'm trying to spend my money.
Yes.
Fuck them.
Yeah, I mean, there's one kind of thing, like for, Trump's situation, for example, he got handed down a large amount of wealth, but he was able to also do stuff with it. And, there's different people who argue for it, against it, whatever. But, he was able to continue that train going, right? Which is in a way kind of cool if you can make that work over multiple generations. I like this comment here by Perez.
Yeah, this is like they said, we're in a new world. We're in a new world, man. The new digital age is here to stay. Steve Robinson has a question. It says, how do I buy Bitcoin if I have $10,000 to invest? Depends on where you are. But Charlie, you want to handle that one?
I'm assuming he's in the United States. If you're in the United States, you're probably going to have to go through KYC, know your customer, which means you'll have to give an ID of some sort. So what I would say is something that's not a crazy high fee would be Binance.us, which is a website, and they charge, if you buy it through credit card, you only have to give them like your ID or normal ID. You don't have to go through all the KYC. They charge you about 3.5%. You sometimes can find better deals out there, especially if you're doing like a face-to-face trade, but that has some inherent danger, especially depending on what city you're in. So I would say 3.5% fee is not great, but it's not bad. And it's probably one of the better you're going to get to be able to get it quickly. So I would go with Binance.us at the moment. Coinbase has about like a 7% fee, and Bitcoin ATMs average 8% fees, but they sometimes can be a lot lower, sometimes a lot higher. So you got to do a little shopping around, but the quickest and easiest one would be Binance.us.
So I would say this. Yeah, I would say definitely. I don't know, man. It's just so hard right now for me to. I feel like Bitcoin's getting ready to take off, man. To be honest with you, like my instinct.
It definitely is. You're right.
I don't think we're. I think this is reminiscent of what was happening in 2017, man. I think we're gonna hit 11K.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, I mean, we can look at the chart here in a second, but there's a lot of work that it has to do. So it is ready to make a move, but it's just a matter of timing. And there's going to be some volatility. There's going to be some ups and downs between now and that timing. So I do think we get Bitcoin back in the 8Ks again before the halving in May. So we have one or two cycles for that to happen. after the halving, the price doesn't always go up. Actually, after the last halving, the price went down somewhat significantly. But probably after June of this year, you want to have all your position in Bitcoin by that time. And then ride it out for about a year and a half.
By June, though, what the fuck is the price going to be? Were you really honestly expecting 10K in February?
No, not really. I was thinking Bitcoin would, still be between probably 7 to, maybe 9K max at this time. So, it's jumped up a lot better. But the Bitcoin cycles are a great way to not really worry about the price as long as you're going with the trend. The great thing about the Bitcoin cycles is basically roughly every 60 days you get a high, or you get a low to a low and then a high in between. And so if you just play the lows of those cycles correctly, you have at least 10 days of price action to the positive side, usually in those cycles. So you could do a short-term trade, but if it keeps going up, then you could just stick to that trade or add to your position at that point. So just buying at every cycle low and then seeing what it does after about 10 days is probably the simplest strategy you could do out there. You don't have to worry about which price it's at that time.
And so the cycle low is coming up right now. Am I correct? On the 18th?
Yep. Around between the 17th to 23rd, we should get it around there.
Oh, Steven's in Canada.
Oh, Canada. That's a little bit of a different one. You can use, I don't know if you can use Binance.com or not, because they basically have the same thing. We might have to pick Nils's brain on that one because he's in Canada too. I don't know what he's got in terms of
fucking
fees. He pays attention well, and I like that. He's actually really smart when it comes to finance stuff. So because he pays attention, he's a kind of a macro guy in terms of fundamental news. So, but he's done a fair bit of shopping on different platforms in Canada. So I'm not really sure about Canada, to be honest, though.
Nigerian Don says 8K Bitcoin would be great. Let's take a look at the price charts before, and then we'll have a question here from Waldemar that we'll handle later. But let's open the price charts and take a look at what's exactly going on here.
Alrighty. So I'll just look at the main Bitcoin chart, and then I have another chart I want to share a little bit later.
Okay.
All right, we got it.
Yep.
All right, so there's a few things here that are kind of overlapping with each other, but the main thing here is just to kind of look at a macro view first. So don't worry about these numbers and letters and what they all mean. Basically, we had the high of 20K in 2017. We came to a low of 3,100, and we rebounded from there in 2019. Now, people who aren't paying attention, in 2019, when we started this show, we started it around this time in February last year, around Valentine's Day. How sweet, at $3,565. And Bitcoin went up to 14K. So since we started that show last year until the high of last year, it was up 284K. Or sorry, 284%. Sorry. And so that's a $10,000 increase. Pretty decent, I would say. And so if you just had bought one Bitcoin, you'd be sitting pretty. But if it were to come down to what the current price is, we're still up 200%, 195% from when we started the show to 1 year from now. And still people are doubting. People are still like, oh, it's going to die. Things aren't going to happen. It's just wild to me that, people have that, much stubbornness and, aren't willing to really look into stuff and understand it. But we do have a strong group of guys who've been paying attention to this. So that's positive. And so what we have here actually on the macro side is we have this kind of, triangle forming here. If we were to zoom out like really, really far, and we're just to take like from the very early stages, and I could probably even reduce this and just say something like this, but just to make it, a little bit longer. We could do like that. Doesn't really matter where the bottom of the trend line is.
Mm-hmm.
But we're basically coming into this decision-making time here. If, this is a trend line, which is successful. So it's just something that I've been looking at a little bit recently, which is kind of interesting because it does line up with the halving kind of perfectly. The halving coming here in early May, right? So I believe we get a lot of bounces between probably 8.2K and up here at maybe 11,500. We bounce between that area, and probably the majority of it within the next, what's this here, until maybe early June maximum or latest. So we keep bouncing, and then basically Bitcoin has to make a decision. And the coolest thing with this is that it's a pretty easy decision, because with the halving, it kind of pushes it in one direction, which is mainly up. And so, once Bitcoin breaks above that area, then we start seeing some good stuff. So that's, but trend lines they can not work sometimes. So if I just take that out of the equation, the other thing to pay attention to, and this is what we mentioned last week and the week before, is just if you look at the last halving, right? Bitcoin went down actually right after the halving from about $675 to $450 or something, about a 32% decline. So it doesn't mean that when the halving happens, we're going to definitely go up. We could go down like 30% at the halving, and people would be like, oh, what the hell is going on? People would be kind of going a little bit crazy. But the thing is the basically 1.5 years before the halving, it came up a little bit, and then it went crazy after. We've had about 1.5 years going into this halving from the last low of $3,100. So I believe, we get something similar, but the upside in terms of percent is less, but the dollar amount is larger. And so that's why we're paying attention to that $90,000 to $100,000 region. So that's the gist of
okay.
it.
Now, so based on this current price now, and based off of the growth that we've been doing every year on the 512-day average, right? Is it 512 days, give or take?
Just in the last one. The one before that was actually shorter. It was about just 1 year before the halving and 1 year after.
Well, I'm sorry, one more time.
So the first halving was 1 year before the halving, and then 1 year after when we got to the next high. But the second halving took almost twice as long.
So then what are you thinking now?
Well, the only reason why I'm thinking similar to the last one now is because if we take the date range from the last low of 3,100 until where the halving is going to happen, that's also 522 days, which is very close to the 540 of the last one in 2016. And so then the next after the halving, you just basically mirror that, right? The same amount of days going into late 2021, but you get a lot more of a parabolic advance after the halving. At least we have the last 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
So
then based off of this, then it's going to be another, maybe, are you thinking 720 days?
No, I'm thinking just about maybe 520 days, roughly. It's about the same amount that it took from the 3,100 low to the halving that's coming up in May.
And based off of this trajectory, then what are we thinking? Like, are we still thinking 30K for the year is the max?
So here's something interesting on that I was looking at, actually. If I go back here, if I just kind of, it's going to look a little funky because I'm going to just undo a lot of the stuff that I just did. But once I get that trend line back, there's one thing about it that's pretty interesting, actually.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. It looked a little funky there for a second. One interesting thing about this trend line is when you take from the peak of 20,000, right? And then you just bring it down to the bottom of this, where this trend line is. And roughly, and then you bring it up to, let's say we break out at around $12,000. And this isn't perfect, right? You can see the line shrinking as I move it over. And that's because it's basically doing the math. If I were to take the percentage, you could actually see that it's legit. So This would be about 100% difference between the bottom of the trend line and the top. This one is saying the trend line brings us to about $30,000 if this breaks up, this pattern were to break out to the upside. And if I were to bring this up from here to here, like 100% increase actually would be about 23,000. So I would say, give or take, we definitely get all-time highs within this year above 20,000. But with this pattern, you could arguably get somewhere between, $20,000 to $30,000 Bitcoin on a breakout just on this, type of pattern. But then in addition to that, you have a lot of these other signals in terms of timing for cycles, but also Elliott wave patterns. So basically everything is pointing up. So that's why I say before June, get anything you can under $10,000 because it's the best you're going to get.
Wow, man, unbelievable! It's looking like it's kind of happening, right? It's really fucking happening. Well, do you think this is a false? Do you think this is a false alarm like last summer?
No, it's a continuation of what happened last summer. And last summer was not a false alarm at all. It's actually everything is happening as it should, basically. So if we ignore everything on here, just look at this blue line that I have here, this one. So you got a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and we're currently in that fifth wave. From the 3 to the 4, we have a significant decline, but when I zoom into the sub waves of this fifth wave up, we should have 5 waves within the wave 5. And what happened last year was just wave 1. So you can't kind of see everything here because I got a lot of junk on here. But this wave 1, this purple wave 1 right here, that is what happened last year. We had 5 waves up. We had some people call it WXY, some people call it WXYZ, but anyways, we had a corrective pattern, and now we're going to start another major 5 waves back up. But this time the wave 1 is kind of like the starter package. It's not a false alarm. It's a test run is a better way to put it. And the wave 3 is usually the most impulsive, which means once we break out of this area and break above 16 to 17,000, then this wave 3 just starts basically getting a lot of juice. So we're in the best part of the bull market right now. We're just in the beginning of it.
Man, it's fucking unreal. I don't know, man. This is just like I have like that instinct feeling again that this is off to the races.
Yeah, because we are. But not right. Nothing goes straight up and nothing goes straight down. There's no price too low to buy, and there's no price too low to buy or sell, as well as no price too high to buy or sell. You just have to know what the pattern is and what the timing is in order to get a good price.
Man, so then I don't like. So do you see us getting back down to 6K ever?
Ever is one question. Getting back there anytime within the next 1.5 years? No. I can show that chart again and tell you how we could get back to 6K sometime in the future. But hold on, let me show that again. It's not impossible to happen in the future by Elliott wave, standards. Because we would have to, it depends on where the top of this wave 5 is. Okay. So the lower that this wave 5 goes, the more percentage drop there could be. Usually Bitcoin itself. And so if we just ignore any theory, we just go with Bitcoin historical price action. Every time Bitcoin pulls back, it pulls back between 84 to 94% or 80 to 94%. And from $20,000 or 19,700 here in 2017 down to the low of 3,100, that was an 84% drop. Okay, pretty standard for Bitcoin. So what if Bitcoin got to $90,000 and it stopped there? How much would a 80 to 90% decrease be? An 80 to 90% decrease from there, and it's not working here properly. An 80% decrease from $90,000 would be about 16,000, a 94% decrease, which is the biggest one Bitcoin's ever had, it would be about $5,000. So Bitcoin, if it got to $90,000, would have to basically make the biggest move back, that it matched the biggest move back it's ever done in the past, which is possible. And that would bring us back to that $5,000 region. So that's, but that would be in the next bear market. So it really depends how high we go here in the next run.
Fucking Christ, man.
So ever is, something,
what my situation is right now, just sitting on I'm sitting on the fucking, the buy button, and it sucks.
Sitting on that rocket fuel.
Sitting on this goddamn rocket fuel, trying to get into this thing. Man.
Yeah, it's an emotional game. It's one of those things where there's always a second guessing. There's always a woulda, coulda, shoulda. But there's also, once you are in, you're in, right? So you got to be a little bit careful and a little bit judicious in where you get in, because if you just randomly say, I'm going to buy everything right here, then you're subject to even more. Once you are in, the emotion goes from where you are now to like 100 to 10 times more, right? 10 to 100 times more. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's not bad to wait it out a little bit, because in the next 1 to 2 months or 3 months, we'll have plenty of opportunity. It's just being patient that takes its toll. But the good thing is as long as you have some Bitcoin, like anybody out there who's like, I don't have any Bitcoin and I just want to be exposed to it, buy like 10 to 15% of what you want now. And then, just make sure that you're never going to touch it for like a couple of years, and then figure out better ways to buy other areas. But there's no better time than the present at any time. And that helps to reduce the emotion a little bit sometimes for some people, but never, I don't recommend to buy everything that you're going to do at one single time usually, because that can go against you as well.
Well, we got a lot to come. We got a lot to unravel coming up this upcoming year, man. I don't know. Fucking Christ.
Yeah, I got another chart I want to show, but before we do that, there's some good stuff probably in the chat. I haven't looked too much at it, but Yo, extra rocks. Yeah, I like this one. Wanted more in December, right? That's always how it works.
It always works like that. Good Lord, man. I'm just so upset because I didn't pull the trigger earlier this year. Like, I had it already. I just took my sweet ass time, and this fucking thing jumped out of nowhere. You kind of said that it wasn't going to jump, but I said I think it's going to jump. And
here's exactly what I said coming into December, right? I said around Christmas, around the December 23rd, we're going to get a cycle low. Okay.
Yeah.
And that cycle low, correct. That cycle low will give us at least, some positive price action for like 10 days. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been a good time to buy. And then just, if it does roll over and go lower from there, which I thought it could, then great. If it doesn't, then you add to your position at a little bit higher. But because I saw that cycle low coming and it came a little bit early, it came on the 18th of December. Then, if you just buy a little bit at each cycle low, for the last 6 months, you probably would have been shitting your pants because each cycle low is actually lower. But now that we're going back into a bull phase, we've already had a trend change. Basically, every cycle low will be not necessarily higher, but at least making higher lows more consistently than it has in the last 6 months. So just buy it every cycle low, every 60 days roughly, and you'll have less FOMO basically.
So what do you think? Like this upcoming cycle low is going to be on the 18th, which is in about
17th to 23rd. Yep.
So yeah, anywhere between the next 7 to 10 days.
Yep. And 7 to 10 to 15. Yep.
Right. And so,
so no matter where price is at that time, if you buy it, then it depends on what kind of person you are. If you're buying it for long term, you might have to, it could roll over for a little bit and go below where you bought it, for like a month or two. So, anytime you buy cryptocurrency, you have to be willing to sit on it for like a year at below the price you bought it. Right. So that's the only risk. But as long as you're thinking, that way, and what's coming later in this year, then you're not really going to be too worried about that for just a couple of months. If it goes down lower, then you just buy more. Right. So, but yeah, if you just buy at that cycle low, no matter what the price is here towards the middle to end of February, is just a really good time to get into Bitcoin.
What a time to be alive. So you still think anything under 10K is a good buy, but now we're above that.
Well, yeah, right now. I mean, yesterday we weren't. So, it's not going to stay above 10K, forever. Some people are, are saying, you got this one guy named Hodlnot on Twitter always saying, every time it goes above 10K, which has happened like, multiple times, but for very brief periods of times, he always says, we're never going to see under 10K Bitcoin again. And of course we have. So
yeah, there's a lot of shitheads on there.
He's just saying it, to get views, and it's kind of a running joke on crypto Twitter.
Oh, okay. I missed the context there.
That's all good.
So you wanted to talk about another chart?
Yeah, well, I just maybe address some of the chat because the pseudoscientist guy has an interesting thing. Says I'm the only one who thinks this pump is mostly Wuhan flu effects. I've heard a lot of people talking about that. Even Bloomberg today, I saw a video by Bloomberg Media, which is better than CNBC. CNBC sucks balls, but Bloomberg is not terrible. And when it comes to Bitcoin, and they were saying for Bitcoin and gold, that's had an effect. So I wouldn't disagree.
Why would coronavirus pump it though?
So there's a lot of people who think that Bitcoin is a safe haven asset. So whenever there is like something negative happening in the world, people generally tend to get conservative and fearful, and also markets start to have problems. So the Federal Reserve chairman today, Jerome Powell, I can't pronounce his last name, Powell or something. He was saying a lot of things that were obviously about the Federal Reserve being, shit. But anyways, right. Long story short, traditional markets can take a pretty big hit on that. Like China, in terms of GDP, had a 0% growth in the last quarter, which it hasn't had for a very long time. So when people are fearful, they tend to go into something that they feel could be a safe haven asset or is not correlated with the rest of the market. So gold and Bitcoin are that for a lot of people.
Interesting. Well, we'll see what happens. You want to see another chart real quick?
Yeah. This one I think is important to what I was discussing yesterday on my show. But also I'll mention a little bit here today.
Looks like old Jordan Belfort was wrong when he said Bitcoin's going down to $1, huh?
Don't even make me laugh. But all right, are we showing this thing?
Yep.
So what is this? This is the Bitcoin dominance chart. So this is Bitcoin compared to all other cryptocurrencies. It's just showing how much money is in Bitcoin compared to other cryptocurrencies. And here on the left-hand side of the chart, it doesn't have the whole history, of course, but just since before 2017, Bitcoin was generally above 90% dominance compared to all other cryptocurrencies. Basically, nobody wanted to hold anything except for Bitcoin. It is the main moral of the story. Then in 2017, the rest of the crypto market started exploding. The main reason for that was because Ethereum actually, was able to make a different type of cryptocurrency that succeeded. And then that spawned a bunch of other cryptocurrencies that were based on Ethereum. And so that took a lot of market cap or a lot of focus away from Bitcoin, and people started having more confidence to go into the other crypto assets. And that happened throughout 2017 and early 2018. And so that's why you see Bitcoin come down here to a low of 35% dominance. But actually, Bitcoin going down in dominance just means not that less money is going into Bitcoin, but that more the crypto market as a whole is healthier And so this is a really good sign of a bull market, basically. And a good, of course, it's also a good sign of a top of a bull market when people are too heavily invested in the altcoins, because Bitcoin is really the only one that's proven itself. All the other ones, there's a lot of stuff that is not so great about them. They still have a lot to prove over the next couple of decades. But then once, that frenzy was over, Bitcoin regained dominance up to about 75%, because that was the only thing people had confidence in and people were willing to trade. That's changing now. Ever since January 7th to 14th of this year, Bitcoin dominance has actually decreased from about 70% to about 63%. So, it could come back up and change, but this is the first sign that the altcoins or the other cryptocurrencies are starting to have some health, and that the whole market, is starting to take off in this bull market that we're expecting in the next year and a half.
So you would say we are in the bull market now?
Well, we've been in the bull market since the end of 2018 when we hit that 3,100 low, and we started to come up from there.
Mm-hmm.
But we're getting to a phase, the first portion, right? That test run that I was talking about earlier, not, kind of a fake out. It was more of a test run over the last 1 year, was only Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin was doing well. Everybody was putting money into Bitcoin, but nobody was really doing much with the other altcoins except for a few of them. But now this is the first sign that the whole market is starting to become positive. So not only is Bitcoin now worth putting money into, but the other altcoins are going to start taking off here in 2020, which they didn't really do sustainably last year.
Right.
So this is where we get into the fun stuff.
Alt season's coming right after the death of our son.
It's sooner than you anticipate.
I remember I was telling you about, I had the
things look closer in the mirror than they appear.
I still have a theory, and I personally believing that ADA is a good buy, not based off fundamentals, not based off of the white paper or any of that shit, but I think it's pumpable, and these pumps are coming. These strategic pumps during the bull market are coming again.
Mm-hmm. We're just getting those signals now. That's why I mentioned those things.
I know. How reckless would you think it would be to put $10,000 into ADA? You want to look at the chart? Can you pull the chart up?
Yeah, I like where ADA is right now a little bit, but let me pull up the chart. You're going to do better in Bitcoin for the most part, but for
if it goes to 50 cents, though, if it goes to if it gets that pump to $1.50, what did it pump to last time in 2017? Because I've had my eye on it for a while.
We'll look at this and we'll look at it properly here, because
it's pumped to like $1.07 to about $1.12.
Well, so here's the thing, and I'll explain a little bit more about how this works here in a second. Crypto can be a bit of a mind fuck, because when you do Forex trading, which is non-crypto, right? When you just do currencies to currencies, it's like, when was the first time that you went to another country? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How did you value that money? How easy was it to wrap your head around, I can buy a Snickers bar with this much Deutschmarks or euros, or, depending on when you were traveling and so forth. It's hard, right? It's a hard concept to start thinking in another type of asset value. Mm-hmm. So when we look at Cardano to dollars versus Cardano to Bitcoin, you're looking at it in two very different ways. And so my argument is I would want more Bitcoin. So I would mainly want to look at it compared to Bitcoin, so that I would know, okay, which one's doing better, Cardano or Bitcoin? Anytime Cardano is doing better, I'll jump into that for a short period of time. Once I got more Bitcoin out of that, then I'll put my profits back into Bitcoin and want to jump between the two, but while mainly staying in Bitcoin as much as possible. Whereas if you play the dollar game, sometimes you can do that with crypto, but actually when you look at it after the fact, you're like, well, if I would have just stayed in Bitcoin, I might have done better actually. So,
So you think
dollar amounts can
10,000?
be.
So let me ask you this, because I'm thinking like this. So let me see if I can. Actually, I'll do it on screen for the folks. So because this is what I've been toying with, because we are going to experience another massive bull market insanity. I feel like the rumblings are kind of in the air. I could be wrong, but
no, you're right. I agree with you.
so this is, and we saw this happen last time in the bull. I mean, I just want to be ready for this bull market coming up. Okay, so Cardano is currently can you see my screen? We're good.
Yeah, I got your calculator.
Okay, so let's say you take $10,000 US, right? Right? Divided by 0.06, right? Because one Cardano is 6 cents right now. That gives you 1,666 shares, right?
Yep.
So let's say now the previous all-time high was $1.12. So let's just assume it gets to 45 cents. So times 0.45. Correct?
Yep. I'm still running with you.
You get $75,000, which is a $65,000 profit margin. Are you telling me that you think if you were to put, because if you bought one Bitcoin right now, so one Bitcoin is 10,300, so you would get what, like you would get 0.97 of a Bitcoin. And if that is, let's say Bitcoin goes to, I mean, yeah, even if Bitcoin goes to 50,000, still you're not, I mean,
well, if you go double that, right, to basically the 90 to 100,000 range, then you would be at about $90,000, and right. So one Bitcoin, if it were to go to $90,000, so it's like, okay, if Cardano were to go to that area that you're saying, then yes, you're up $77,000, or you're at $77,000 total. If the Bitcoin goes to the 90,000 that we're hoping it will, you're up an extra 20,000 from there. To be honest, most of these things do move somewhat in tandem. So unless for Cardano, since it's a main cryptocurrency, it's in the top 20, you're probably going to get a similar return to Bitcoin overall compared to dollars. If you just strategically jump between the two, you could increase your Bitcoin stack faster and potentially make more dollars that way. But that takes a little bit more, work. So jumping in one or the other is simply easier. But it's really hard to say. The only cryptocurrencies where you're going to get a lot more than Bitcoin are the small cap coins, the coins that are, under the top 50, because most of those are kind of like penny stocks. So it takes a lot less effort to move them up. So like, a 20 times or 100 times move is a lot, not easier, but it's more possible with those, but you have a lot more risk because you can also lose that entire thing. So I would say Cardano, it's hard to say where that's going to go exactly compared to Bitcoin and which one's going to be, better in that frame of time. But ultimately, you're probably going to do just as well with either of them, give or take, a few $1,000.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a risk, but at the same time, like, when you're just like so sure of something, and then you're just like, fuck, like, well, and then it ends up being right, but you're like, oh my God,
You were right with Verge in 2017. You were saying, privacy coins are very popular. This thing is a privacy coin and it's under a penny. I bought it when it was a third of a penny and it went up to 20 cents. My mistake was that I doubled down and I bought more at around 15 cents and then I held it too long, right? So that increased my average buy price. Whereas if I would have just held the original, it doesn't matter where it would have gone, because getting higher than anything, above that third of a penny is, easy. So ultimately, though, you were right. So I think when you were looking at this stuff in 2017, you were right on a lot of, these coins. So I think Cardano's not a bad thing. There's people who on the fundamental side could disagree with you for a lot of things. But I mean, if you're looking at it for a 1.5 to 2 year play, it's not going anywhere. It's not going to die. So I definitely think it's a thing that you can make a good amount of money on. And it probably will do very well as Bitcoin will. So
My
why
strategy, yeah, I'm thinking invest 10K, pull it out when it's like $1. Then if I could walk away with 160, it's not bad.
not? No, it's great.
And then Daddy wants this one right here. This is the last Rolex I'll buy. But this one is about, I could get it from some retailers for $32,000, but some places in Japan they're 50. But I just want to, this is the final upgrade in the Rolex series of my life. This is the exact same watch that I have, but it's yellow gold. It's got the green dial. It's fucking sexy as shit.
I like it.
I know.
Wear that thing on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh my God. I'd wear both my Rolex at the same time. But that's like my incentive to do it. And then after this last one, then it's on to the houses and stuff. But I just feel, I feel almost too confident that I might be wrong. But, you're going to kick yourself if you're right. You know what I mean?
Yep, exactly. So, you put something decent towards it, and I think Cardano will do just as well as, Bitcoin and a lot of other things. Ethereum's going to do very well in this market. Litecoin's going to do well.
I just do it.
Just do it, baby.
Good kid. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I feel like, oh yeah, it's the dude, he says the colors your favorite.
I just saw that. I was gonna just give him a big middle finger right there. And, no. We were watching the Super Bowl together the other week, and he knows my disdain for the Packers.
We love Jacob. Yeah, man, fucking unreal, dude. Like, is this shit really happening? Like, I don't know. I still have like, I'm like a battered wife. I have like trauma from the fucking the 2017 shit. So I'm like wondering, is this real, or is this just another shit, like just another fake out, basically?
Here's the only difference between now and that time is there's one main difference in the market, which is that we do have the CME futures for Bitcoin, and now CME options as well. The difference with that is that Wall Street's in the game. The good thing about Wall Street being in the game is that more money can flood into the market, right? Bigger amounts of money, which is essentially good for Bitcoin. But the bad thing about it as well is it comes with Wall Street trying to fuck with shit. So they've been known to mess with the precious metals, price, like gold. JP Morgan actually recently got indicted. Some people got indicted for manipulating the price of gold between, I think, the year 2000 and the year 2013, something like that. And they actually got proven in court that they did actually manipulate it. So they will try to manipulate Bitcoin as well. They try to through the news, but then they also will try to through things like the CME. So that's the only difference. Can that hold back Bitcoin? Nobody knows. We'll just see. But I think, that 30K mark, is not really it's going to be hit for sure. So we're going to get to all-time highs, and then it's just a matter of how high after that.
I'm just looking for like the pumps, if I can just see the pumps coming through. I mean, honestly, to be completely fair, if I could just walk away from the Cardano trade with $100,000, which it's totally possible with this upcoming market. $100,000, it ain't that much anymore to me, but I mean, it's better than not having it. And then
yeah, that's for sure.
And then
the extra only doesn't hurt,
right? And then it would be a nice "I told you so" for myself. And then it's always good, you walk away, because if you do a 10,000 investment now, it pumps. I mean, do you think Cardano is definitely here to stay? It's not going away, right?
Well, the main thing with a lot of these coins is who's behind them. Are they going to give up, or are they going to keep moving? So the guy behind Cardano, Charles Hodgkinson,
Yeah.
I don't know if I pronounced his name exactly correctly, but he's not going anywhere. He's not going to be the type of guy to just leave
He's a
it in the
persistent
dirt.
fuck, right?
Yeah. So they're going to keep developing it. And so it's going to stay here. I mean, even fucking Bitcoin Satoshi Vision is going to still be here probably. So Craig Wright's not giving up.
So yeah, I guess so you guys know. So Cardano's here. It used to be a top tenner. But with what is it? Bitcoin's SV scam vision. Fucking hell. You know, the all-time high was here right at the end of the last bull market. This was like, let me see if I can get it on here. Yeah, it was on January 5th after Bitcoin hit the all-time high. So that's typically what happens, right? Bitcoin hits the all-time high, and then it starts to crash, and the alts kind of follow behind it on a parabola. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's kind of like Bitcoin's the front of the roller coaster, and the altcoins are towards the back end. So Bitcoin goes over the top first, and then the other ones get actually higher. And so people are like, oh, altcoins are better than Bitcoin now. And that's the ultimate fake out.
Yeah, buddy. Good Lord. That's going to be something else, man.
Yep. So just don't get stuck at that top. And so what do you learn from 2017, right? Take everything that you learned from how that market went, right, and then just understand, okay, when you have profit, take it.
Yeah.
And then, everything else, which is, you don't have to take all the profit, but you could take like 50% of it or 60% of it. And then the other 40%, let's say, you can let ride on the table, just because it's pure profit. It's not what you originally put in,
right?
But at least take your original investment out at some point within the bull market. So that way you have less emotion tied to, the money that you're betting.
Yeah, man. No, I don't know. It just seems like, because okay, so it peaked on the 8th, and then Bitcoin. When did Bitcoin peaked in December? Correct.
Yeah, December 18th or something like that of 2017.
Was it 18th? Yeah, you're right. Let me see.
Of course I'm right.
That's right. Yep. Oh, December 19th. You're wrong. Maybe I don't know. This is the one thing I hate about CoinMarketCap.
It's all good.
Yeah, it maxed out at like what, 19K was it, or is it 18,877?
It was like 19,700 and something. It was just a hair shy of 20,000.
Let's see. Let me see if I can catch this here. Yeah, $19,876 on the 17th. Correct.
Yep.
On a Sunday, bloody Sunday, and then fucking crashed. We had a fake pump back up to 17, and then the Bitcoin crashed. So yeah, man. I mean, it's a risk, but hey, money sitting in your bank account. I mean, the values are not going up. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, and the one thing which, people are talking about in Europe more recently is negative interest rates. The bank charging you to put money. You can take this fucking thing about the Green Bay Packers off the screen, by the way.
Oh, is this still up?
It's pissing me off. But no. What was I gonna say now? Fucking hell. Green Bay fucking Packers.
Oh, the negative interest rate about putting money into bank accounts.
Yeah. So they're charging you money to hold your money in a bank and then lend it out to other people for their own financial gain. How ridiculous is that? If the United States starts to go down that route, that's the beginning of the end.
Oh man. I don't know. I think that the powers that be, here's my personal thinking, right? I think the powers that be know that we're too smart right now. We're too smart, we're too angry, and we're too armed for them to let any shit happen. So I think they're really trying their best to like keep everything together.
For anybody who's interested, in learning more about finance, hell yes, extra buck. I would just say, look at what happened today with the Federal Reserve. What did Jerome Powell say, and how did Trump react to it? Because Trump's trying to protect that, the economy to stay up and for the stock market to stay up, because it's in his best interest and in, staying as an incumbent president, right? To stay in power, they need this thing to keep running. And that's not, that's for both parties as well, actually, because if everything went to shit, they're all going to take a blame. But if you look at what Jerome Powell said, he started saying something actually honest today, which is he's starting to say the U.S. might want to pay off some of its debt, actually, because otherwise, we could have some problems. And that, negatively affected the stock market in the last, day or so. So when the Federal Reserve is finally admitting to some of their mistakes, that's not a good sign, because they usually don't do that until they have to.
I don't think they don't want the normies out there angry, and
If somebody wants to, we gotta
shit. Tomorrow, I'm sorry, man. I know you watch all the time. You didn't have to send that money. Let's talk about that real quick. He says discuss the official China. So he says discuss the official China crypto or the U.S. Fed being asked to form an official U.S. crypto.
Yep. So I'm going to put this as simply as possible, and then I'm going to refer to something that I wrote to my email list last week. Mm-hmm. The simplest way to put it is the reason why China wants to get its own cryptocurrency or its own digital currency, whatever you want to call it, is because they throw the link to my channel in there as well, not to like donation, but just to subscribing to my channel if we have one.
I do not have one, but
we can look it up, or somebody in the chat can throw it in there. Anyways, because I think there's a few new guys watching.
You just talk, I'll make it.
Alrighty. But anyways, what I was going to say here was, so China wants to make its own digital currency because they are losing money. They're losing the power to control the money within their own borders. So they're a little different than the United States in that they want everything contained within China. And the only time, the yuan goes outside of China is when they control the ability for that to happen. They have a pretty tight grip on that for the most part. But recently with cryptocurrency via Russia and China, people were literally taking out billions, not billions, hundreds of millions of dollars out through US dollar tether between China and Russia, facilitating international transaction, basically leaking money out of their economy that they didn't want to happen. And so they see a way to, basically, if you can't beat them, join them. They find cryptocurrency as a way to have more control over their money, which it can. It's a digital ledger, which is not changeable. So they can actually use it to trace people, which is what they love to do, right? They have that 1984 type of mentality. So, it's cryptocurrency can be a tool for as much good as much evil, right? It's like a knife. It can cut both ways. So that's why China's getting into it. But now there's 53 other countries right now actively building their own digital currencies as well. And so these are called central bank digital currencies. They're not true cryptocurrencies because they're not decentralized. They're centralized digital currencies. But the other half of the question is the US Fed is being asked to form an official US crypto. It's simply just to not be left behind, because most of the banking that's done in the United States right now is already digital. Most of your credit card transactions are already digital. So why not create something that, will be easier for people to use and people will want to, use, because people are using a lot less cash. Even the state of New York, I think, and I think Chicago even considered it. They considered banning cash transactions in some shops.
What the fuck? Goddamn Democrats.
Crazy.
Fucking only in Democrat shitholes will they come up with such a stupid idea. Are you fucking
New York
joking?
is nuts.
Banning cash transactions? These politicians fucking suck the biggest STD covered dick, man. How dumb are they? Somebody actually proposed that? Are you serious?
No, New York actually, I forget what they proposed it for, but it's actually in effect. In Chicago, they proposed it, but a lot of people resisted it.
So wait, in New York, some places you can't use cash?
Yeah, so it used to be illegal for like a shop to say, hey, we're not going to take your cash, right? But Now, if a shop says, no, we don't take cash, we only take card, it's possible.
Wow, these people are fucking retarded.
Yep. Well, it's perpetuating the debt cycle, which makes sense. So New York is the hub of Wall Street. So, part of that kind of fuckery.
Huh. Okay. What are hold on. Rich is texting me. Fucking hell, man. Yeah, there's a lot of I mean, I'm like flabbergasted with all the opportunities. I'm like overwhelmed with all the opportunities to be had right now. That's really my biggest problem.
No, yeah. The world, the internet specifically, and the world, there's a scarcity mindset is the wrong way to look at the world. There is, a lot of stuff out there. You just have to figure out how to get it, coming towards you, or, how to grab the opportunity. And it's the same thing with the internet, especially with, cryptocurrency. It's like you said, it's the native currency of the internet. It's not going anywhere. It's only going to get better and more built out. So, might want to get some. Not financial advice.
Not financial advice. This is a comedy show, actually. So
yeah, exactly. Pull up this video. I think I won't show the video, but you can put the link in the chat. For some reason, I can't pull it up on my YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a funny video. If anybody want to know how a bull cycle works or how cryptocurrency.
Oh, is this the fucking Scandinavian guy?
Yeah, it's fucking crazy ass, weird ass video.
Let's watch it. Fuck it.
No, because it's too long. I think it's like 3 minutes.
Dude, yesterday we watched the entire duration of the music video. Sweet dreams are made of these, and then fucking.
I saw you reading the lyrics to that. I didn't see the whole show though.
We played the whole show, but then it got fucking it got taken down by YouTube. I have to I'm appealing it right now. Yeah, fuck Eurythmics.
Yeah, they got a tight grip on that.
Oh, no, where is it?
Just type in the Bitcoin bubble. And it had it was put out literally like a week before the top of the bubble.
Here, I got it.
But it's a crazy ass video. It kind of goes fast.
Hey, if you guys don't like watch it, get the fuck out of here. I don't give a shit. Hey, we've been right so far. If you idiots don't want to fucking stick around and listen to us, just turn off the show. Go get in the welfare line. We'll holler at you. But this is a great way for you to realize how a bull market is going to start in cryptocurrency and how to understand scams like BitConnect. I can't believe people bought into BitConnect, man. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah,
here's an informational video for you all. Get ready for some maximum wokeness.
See, I knew something like that would start getting people spurging out and being like, "What the fuck?" But if you've been in Bitcoin long enough, I mean, when that video came out in 2017, I was like, "What the fuck am I getting myself into?" Like, this community is so fucking ridiculous.
But it's so true. Like,
but it's not wrong,
dude. I'm telling you guys. Okay, so we've been doing the show for 1 year, right? So go ahead and everybody watching, send us each 1 Bitcoin. You're welcome. There's the donation link in the chat right there. I just checked. Somebody just sent me a 5,000 yen gift card from Amazon. I don't know who it was, but that was nice of them. So, you guys who are just joining, you guys have been watching since last year. First of all, congratulations on not being a fucking loser. Okay. Secondly, if you were not involved in cryptocurrency in 2017, we're telling you, we are fucking telling you, there was blood in the streets, man. There was mania. There were hot girls on the train in Tokyo checking their Bitcoin account, right? Miss MLD bought Bitcoin. She bought it. She got good prices. She got it in a good price. She got it in like 3K ish. So she's sitting pretty right now. All because of me, because I'm her savior. But you guys are gonna see, man. There's gonna be so much scams. Okay, you're gonna see a certain person probably up the rate of their scam trading academy, telling you to leverage trade on a 25x, 100x. Those fucking idiots have no idea what's going on right now. None of them are prepping, because if they would, they'd be spamming people to join their scam shit, but they don't fucking, they don't understand. So, what's happening right now is we're seeing the very, very beginning, and to me, it's almost scary that it's happening again because we predicted it. Like, it's almost like, fuck, I don't like being this right. It's like a little uncomfortable. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I know exactly what you're saying, but I'm not uncomfortable with it at all. That's exactly why I started, my website and exactly what I'm doing. Cause I knew when I started it, nobody would pay attention to anything, in general, except for, a very small niche group of people, because a lot of people were burned in the last market and a lot of other different reasons. But now that things are moving forward, it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, I got mine. So, I'm riding that out and just looking for opportunities to add more.
Yeah, man. It is seriously, holy shit, dude. Come on, Christian Gonzalez. Stop. Laziness.
There is an opportunity.
TDJ's gonna talk about it soon.
Yeah, that'll be at the top of the market. Get out when he starts talking about it. But
Yep.
What I would say is there is an opportunity for it to be a continuous bear market to stay under $20,000. There is an opportunity for that. So actually, if you're a trader, that's great. So right, if Bitcoin were to be staying between, let's say, $3,000 and $20,000 for the rest of time, great. Then I know exactly where to trade it. When is it going to be sold? When is it going to be bought based on support resistance?
Right.
If you're a long-term holder, that sucks because, it doesn't go up to exponential growth without you doing anything. So if you want, to hedge your bets, but still be in Bitcoin, I do recommend that people at least understand how to understand information about trading, how to understand how, when people put a chart out there, what's the difference between a chart that is bullshit and a chart that's legit. Because anybody who tells you I know exactly where the price of Bitcoin is going, because I never say like, this is exactly where it's going. This is where I think it's going to go. Mm-hmm. And like we said, this is a comedy show. It's not financial advice, whatever, putting some lighthearted stuff in there.
Complete coincidence that we've been right. Just complete coincidence,
Oh yeah, exactly. So, but anyways, the way to hedge your bet is to understand trading, because if you can understand even an ounce of that and what people are saying when they give you the information on the charts, so that it's not all Greek, that's not only going to help you in crypto, but it's going to help you in a lot of other markets too.
I'm looking forward to it, man. No, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. I'm gonna go talk to Crypto Jesus and think about this Cardano play, because I'm thinking, I think it's worth the risk, honestly. If we have even, if we see any
well, if Bitcoin goes up, it's also going to go up. And so the worst thing I think that's going to happen to you is that, you compare it to Bitcoin. Oh, I would have made an extra 10K in Bitcoin, or maybe the opposite. Maybe I'd made the right play and I made 10 more K in Cardano over that amount of time. But, it's not going anywhere. It's not going to go down. If the market goes up, it's going to go up with the market as well. So
I'm just being extremely selfish. I'm thinking, if I only make $10,000, I'll be like, meh. You know what I mean? If I put in 10 and I make 20,
oh, of course,
I'll be like,
that's for a cryptocurrency. That's it is boring.
Yeah, it's very boring.
Yeah,
but I think 50K is a good, like, if you walk away 50K from a margin trade, or not a margin trade, excuse me, just a regular trade that will take you, even if it's like a passive trade that takes about 9 months. All you're doing is this. You're just fucking working real hard here. Just a little click here, a little click there. And oh, boom, I made 50 grand, right?
Yeah, there are people doing that with Dogecoin as well. So, if people can do it with Dogecoin, then it can be done with almost any of these other ones.
We'll see. It's $10,000. If anything, I can just sell my gold. That'll be good.
There you go.
So
One question I want to mention in the chat just before we finish here, because this is a pretty good one.
You got any memes?
I have plenty if you want to look at those.
Fuck
But
yeah, let's meme it out, baby. We already lost the losers who didn't stay through the crypto video. So
perfect.
The elite are here.
The whole purpose of that was 3 things, basically. Get people to spurg out, because that's always fun. 2, get the losers out of here. People who can't handle fucking memes. And then 3, people who actually pay attention. If you actually watch that video twice and read the lyrics, it's actually pretty fucking spot on.
It's seriously, it is spot on. The fucking normie psychology in there.
Yeah, and where are we right now? We're over 10,000. So the whole video, he's saying the first basically quarter of it, he's saying it's a scam, don't get it. It's at $200, and it gets up to 10,000. Tell me how to buy some, right? Like, it's the best part of it. That's where we're at now.
Today, they said that today too.
Yep. But the one question I want to answer, let's get to the memes, is what would Christian Gonzalez said? What would you put the fair price of right now for Bitcoin? Basically, the fair price for Bitcoin in terms of mining value. So how much does it cost to mine one Bitcoin at the moment, is roughly between $6,000 to $7,500. So if you put that much effort towards mining Bitcoin on average, that'll be your cost of doing business. And then if Bitcoin goes up in value after that, then you make profit, right? So I would say anything over $7,500, or sorry, anything between where we are now and $7,500 is a pretty good buy. Anything below $7,000 is a fucking steal.
I don't think I think
exactly Nigerian done.
I think RIP 7K, man.
Yeah, I think
it's over.
If we do hit it, it'll be very, very, very brief. So it's
and like
probably
79, never like 72
definitely.
Or something.
Yep, for this time around for sure.
Jesus.
Should we get it? Should we get into some of these? The first one's a Conor McGregor one.
Let's do it. Let's see these memes. Meme review.
All right, here we go. You got
it? When Bitcoin breaks above 10K, baby.
Just feel like the top of the world.
Oh, man, I love it. Let's the next one.
Next one. This is a little bit to do with the people that don't think the price is going to go down anymore.
Bearwell letting the bulls have their moment before he has his fun.
So the price will go back down. There is potential to make money to the downside, even if people think it's just not ever going to go down from here. Not that funny, but it's true.
Is that the guy from Canada?
I think so, because he has a Canadian flag behind him. Yeah. I saw the interview with him. Yeah.
When you say you don't do crack, but trade the 1 minute chart like there's no tomorrow. Oh my God. Do people trade 1 minute marks? What the hell is wrong with them?
Day traders, man. I don't know if what was his face from our old office, Chambers.
Oh yeah.
I know he trades short-term charts. I don't think 1 minute. That's a little bit nuts, but some people.
Oh wow. Me, don't do anything weird. Your Bitcoin profits me.
Yeah, what's happening here? I don't know.
Looks
interesting. And the last one.
Smell like 20K with the scent of opium. This is people thinking that 20K is not happening, huh?
Yep. A lot of people still doubters out there. So
I do feel like to an extent I am being a little bit of a normie, like potentially over over hyping this what's happening right now, right? You know what I mean? Like I feel like potentially this could just be a pump, or who knows. But
my thoughts is this time next week we're either at the same price or lower. I would lean towards pretty much lower, but we'll see. We'll see where we're at this time next week, and it'll be a fun chat.
So you think we're gonna be lower next week?
Well, that's when the cycle low is coming. So the cycle low doesn't necessarily have to go lower, but at least it doesn't continue to pump up a lot more. So we already saw, I believe, we're pretty close to seeing the high for this cycle. So probably about this time next week, we start heading down but only for a short period of time.
That would be nice if we go back down, because I mean, fucking hell, man. I'm in a bad spot. I'm in a good bad spot.
Like I was gonna say, stop your whining just because you already have Bitcoin, so you're making money on that. You got in last year, what, around 6K for the stuff you put in last year. So
yeah,
it's it's like those first world problems. It's that's
all I have.
Who's crying?
All I have is first world problems. I sit around and cry and feel sorry for myself.
Yeah, I should just come over there and slap you.
You should. All right, guys. Well, until then, listen, thanks for watching us today. Thanks for sticking through. Love you all. This is not financial advice, but we've been right with our comedy show so far. So until then, we'll catch you next time. Peace out.